You are live at the Taupo International Motorsport Park for the final race of this sixth rent-a-car historic Grand Prix weekend. The Grand Prix won, of course, by Caleb Nato, if you're just tuning in for us, because we're about to have race 3 in the Castrol Formula Regional Oceania Championship. I'm joined by Ronan Murphy, and it's been a pretty cool weekend because we're not seeing anyone sort of stand out right now in CTFROC. Let's go back to race number 1, and Zach Schooler, who was the Tony Quinn shootout winner. A lights to flag win yesterday was pretty impressive, was it not?
Yeah, and he certainly opened up a few eyes up and down the lane, I think, there, Stephen, and he did a beautiful job to cap off and win the first race over the season so far, and obviously it's yeah, great way to kick off for him, and it's going to be interesting to see how the final race of the weekend unfolds.
The one thing about that win run that was impressive was tyre conservation. He came in and was pretty happy, and everybody else was going, wow, this is a nice, competent, professional drive.
Yeah, and I'm sure there has been a few conversations about conservation since then, but no, he did a brilliant job, and obviously it was the two Red Bull back drivers then behind him, Will Brown and Arvid Lindblad, the Red Bull Junior there in third place.
It was a big talking point and a big day out for MTech Racing, which was fantastic. And then you get today in race number 2, Matías Zacazeta, the young Peruvian, again, just strong.
Yeah, he did a brilliant job, and he really showed what he's here to do as well in this championship, and yeah, fine performance from him. But it's all eyes forward here for the final race of the weekend, the Denny Hulme Memorial Trophy race to cap off the weekend, and it's going to be interesting to see. And Arvid Lindblad, we heard, and he made his intentions pretty clear yesterday, and he's going to be running off the pole for this final race.
Yeah, and he looked strong in race 2 as well. I mean, got caught up in a bit of traffic, and it's always hard, particularly at this track, when you're looking for passing opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things, and like we said just before, tyre conservation plays a part of it, and obviously you want to have the outright speed as well to show what you can do. So Arvid Lindblad, the Red Bull Junior M2 competition, he's going to be off the pole for this final race of the weekend.
Let's just go for a wander up, because M2 will be happy with that result. But I mean, I spoke to him earlier in that last race, and he's under enormous a lot of pressure. He brushed it off as you would expect, but you know, to be sent here by Red Bull and be told go and win the championship. He leads the championship by just the 1 point from Matías Zacazeta. That's a hell of a lot on a young boy's shoulders.
Yeah, absolutely. He's I'm sure there will be pressure, but based on how we've sort of seen him and how he goes about things, he's certainly up to the pressure and up to the task of trying to win this weekend, but also win the championship as well. And he's no better way to be kicking off this final race from the pole position.
We talk about consistency. The young man behind us, young Sebastian Manson, which I love the decals, pink and blue, very cool. Same with this race suit. Sitting P10 in the championship, but you know, consistency. It's his first full season. Ran a couple of races last year. Is just doing it by the numbers confidently.
Yeah, he's probably one we haven't sort of spoken about too much so far, and he's doing a brilliant job there and just building those miles. And yeah, I'm sure he's going to be looking to move forward in this one.
Okay, so if you're Arvid Lindblad, you've got plenty of air in front of you. You've got pole position here for race number 3, the feature race too, a bit longer than the others. How would you approach this one? Is you just pedal to the metal and look after your tyres, or go, oh hell, last set of tyres for the weekend?
I think Arvid is going to be wanting to try and get out into the lead, maybe build a little bit of a gap, and then look to conserve those tyres from there and just manage it. So I'm sure he's rehearsed that and had a bit of a think about it, but obviously he's just going to be head down and get on with the job. So it's going to be interesting to see.
You know, Ronan, we talk a lot about the expectation of being a Red Bull driver, but being an M2 driver comes with a lot of as well. They are one of the lead. They are, if not potentially, the leading team in CTFROC. Yeah,
the results for M2 competition speak for themselves over the last few years. They've won a lot of championships, so I'm sure that's going to be the goal again this season. But you know, there's 3 other teams there that are super hungry to try and get the job done, and obviously MTech, they took the first blood yesterday with that victory from Zach Schooler, so I'm sure they're going to be looking to try and replicate that again.
Well, there he is right there in the number 3 car, Zach Schooler, and he's just sitting P3 in the championship behind Arvid Lindblad, Matías Zacazeta. So he knows what he needs to do. I think he was 10th in the last race, so he'd want to really push forward now, being that high on the starting grid.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think there's going to be a couple of other cars and a couple of other drivers there to keep an eye on. Will Brown's another one. He's there in 7th place, so reigning Australian supercar champion, coming out of 7th. So he'll be on the inside of the circuit, but he's going to be, I'm sure, looking to try and make a few moves up and get a bit further up. And another one there, Josh Pearson. He's driver for signed with Ed Carpenter Racing, IndyCar team in America. So he's certainly going to be another one who's trying to make a few spots, and I think he's there off the second row of the grid. So he's in a pretty prime position to try and hunt for a trophy today.
Well, he is, Ronan, too, because as we've said before, we're going to get run down here. We'll just pull over a little bit so we don't get taken out on pit lane. Is that in practice earlier on at Friday practice, he was sitting P1 and practices, I think it was 1 and 3. So maybe it's just getting used to the car.
Yeah, and as we can see here as well, Liam Skeets, he's standing behind his driver, Sean Rashid. So he's the, it was the prior New Zealand Grand Prix winner last year in this championship. So he's not a bad set of, not a bad voice to have in your ears over this weekend and for the whole series.
Yeah, and a young man too that we would certainly hope can find the coin, as it were, to go racing in Indy next. So remember that name, folks, if you're watching this on the Stuff Speed Up. Liam Skeets, Grand Prix winner, the 69th running of that in early February at Highlands Motorsport Park. And these young men will be they will be overjoyed to be at Highlands, one of those special tracks. Okay, race 3, Lindblad on pole. Who you got?
Yeah, I think it's hard to sort of steer away from Lindblad. Seems very focused, very determined. He's got the results to back, and obviously the pole position from this morning was a bit of a statement. So I think he's my pick.
Engines are running race 3, the feature race in the Castrol Toyota Formula Regional Oceania Championship, round 1 here at Taupo. Let's go up top and welcome in Andrew Waite and Jonathan Green.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Ronan. Yeah, looking forward to this one. Obviously, it's the last race of the day, but it's the big one. And it's I love it because we've got 2 race winners in 2nd and 3rd, and then Lindblad, who's yet to score a win yet, but he's odds on starting from pole.
Yeah, they certainly are. And Matthias Sagazita sitting in P2 there. I think we haven't seen everything from him yet.
No.
He just seems to be getting better every time he's out there. And he was fast in that last race. And the way he managed to control the race with those older tyres, the car's clearly in the window even more than it was earlier in the weekend. So those M2 cars, they've certainly found something overnight. They've got the car in a better window. They were struggling with the high-speed areas of the track yesterday, and they've obviously got that a lot more sorted today, which is clearly showing with how much speed they've found overnight.
Yeah, and in Sagazeta's point, we spoke to him this morning, and of course he left Peru at an early age. He speaks Spanish perfectly, obviously, because that's what he's grown up with, and moved to Barcelona. And I often think sometimes it's not a lot of time given to how young drivers, especially when they're teenagers. I remember when Nick Cassidy, Sonoda, and Lawson all left their own shores to go and race in Europe. And Sagazeta has been in Europe racing for quite some time. So coming to New Zealand may be a shock for everybody. They've never been here, but that's part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely is. There's no better way than going around the world doing racing, and it makes you grow up very quickly and become mentally strong for what Formula One is like. And so we take a little bit of a look at the track map as we get underway for the last race of the weekend. Track distance, 3.3 kilometers, 14 corners, and a bit of elevation change up through turn 3 and 4. And certainly the hottest race we have had today. It's the conditions have certainly come up. There's a lot of UV down on the track, which means the tyre degradation is certainly going to be something to worry about. We've seen some passes down into turn 11. It's another spot, just as we can see on camera here. Turn 11, as they're coming towards now, is probably the highest passing opportunity on the track here. So if we're going to see it, that's where it's going to happen. It's either going to happen on the way in that first part, or because it's double apex, they come in, run wide, and then back down to the apex again.
Yeah, it's a tricky corner. Just to put you into the know, after 2 races, Sagazeta, 42 points at the moment. Let's go on board with the man in 3rd place, Arvid Lindblad.
Watch him down into turn 1 here, gets the car in on the new surface. This is a lap from qualifying that put him on the pole. Down into turn 2, really important corner to get the car down to the inside, using as much curve as you possibly can. Up over the right, quite blind up over the top here before he runs the car to the outside on the brakes. You've got to remember, he did this lap late in qualifying as he didn't even have the best of the tyres. So a fantastic lap for him. And this is where we saw him lock up a little bit earlier. Very, very easy to do. Made sure the steering was nice and straight before he got on the brakes. Then he unwinds the steering through the fast turn 8. At this point here, you're already thinking about turn 9. Little tap on the brakes, get the car turned, back on the gas as early as you possibly can to run the car to the outside of the track. And this is where it gets quite awkward. Down into this last section, you can see the track narrows up, staying nice and wide on the brakes. You got to work on clearing that brake, get the car rotated, focusing on getting on the gas on the exit. That's the passing opportunity we're talking about, down into turn 11. You can see him pulling gears. You'll be able to see on his dash at this point, he's up on his quickest lap. All he needed to do now was finish the lap, braking as late as you can. You can't give up now. You've got to keep forcing yourself in late, using the curb to the right, on the gas, little pitch of brake, just to get the car turned, running the car to the outside of the track, and that is a lap that put Arvid Lindblad on pole position.
Yeah, smooth lap. And as I said, at the moment, Sagazeta leading the championship by only 1 point. He has 42. Schooler, also a winner, has 41. And the man you just saw, Lindblad, has 41. So that's where we stand with the top three. Will Brandt is in fourth place. Let's head down to Greg Rust.
Jonathan, why don't we soak up some of the atmosphere here on the grid before we go racing in the feature. Now, the organisers of the Next Gen NZ Championship are big about this being experiential. It's a big thing about opening doors for young people, maybe on the engineering side, men and women that have aspirations to follow motorsport, and to giving youngsters a chance to come and soak it up. So you are looking after the little flag here, the marker for Arvid Lindblad. What is your name?
Marker.
And where are you from?
New Zealand.
Of course, New Zealand. What part of New Zealand?
Auckland.
Auckland. It's fantastic to have you here. Let's hope this young man goes well. Thank you for being on the grid and enjoy it. Soak it up. We'll see if we can get a word with the pole sitter if he doesn't mind. I know he's probably trying to focus on the race here. Can we grab a quick word? You've been such a cool customer, Arvid, right across the weekend so far. When it gets to this moment, do you switch over? Do you become something different and get that kind of focused feel?
Yeah, of course, you have to always a bit. So yeah, just getting into the zone now and looking forward to the start of the race.
One final question for you. Little observation from the outlap. It feels compared to race 2 today, a bit more sun exposure than what we had this morning, perhaps a little bit warmer. What impact is that going to have in this longer feature race?
Yeah, we'll probably have to be a bit more careful on the tyres, but it's not been too much of an issue so far in the previous 2 races, so we'll have to see.
Thank you for chatting with us, and we wish him well today. That's really cool that he would do that for us. Why don't we wander down the grid here and see who we can find? And Chad, I can see Stephen Giles here wandering up and having a look at his now he's running away from me, understandably, but having a look at what everyone else is doing here on the grid at the moment. Pilch, why don't we have a little word with you? How's the weekend been so far? I mean, lots of good things have come out of it. What about this final race, and how should the best performers play it, do you think?
I think they will expect a lot bigger tyre degradation than before, than this morning, obviously. Yep. They need to wait till the last quarter of the race, I would think, is the best way to go.
Okay.
The start will mean everything, though, again.
You run, Mark Pilcher, a massive operation here of people, but you give as a part of what CTFROC and Next Gen stands for, lots of young people an opportunity from an engineering standpoint and so on. How big is this undertaking for 5 weeks straight?
Yeah. A bit larger than I'd like, to be honest. Yeah.
We'll let you focus. I can tell he wants to do that. I'm sorry I interrupted you. Thank you. Let's keep on going here. Josh is getting a last word here. Hopefully he doesn't mind us diving in. Josh, can we get a little word with you before you get going? Row 2 for this one. How you feeling? And what about the learnings from the opening 2 races of this championship going into the feature?
Yeah, you know, I think it's been a difficult kind of path with the starts, but I've been slowly getting better at it. So this first start was good, second start not so much. So now I've got one more try at it. But I've really been enjoying getting used to the car and the tracks here and the people. It's just been such a great environment, and it's a really helpful environment, and it's awesome to learn in. So super grateful to IMTech, HMD Motorsports, and Ed Carpenter Racing for giving me this opportunity to come out here and do this. And yeah, there's for sure still lots to learn.
We're grateful that you could be here too, and he'll be busy, of course, debriefing what he gets out of Taupo. Next week, we are at Hampton Downs in Hamilton for the next round of the championship. We're getting set to clear the grid here. They're asking some of the teams to get ready to head over the pit wall. Some of those that have been lucky enough to come down and soak up the energy on the grid here. We'll just see who else might be around for a quick little word if we can get one. Here's Andrew Edwards, who's come across from Red Bull Ampol Racing. He's going to try and duck and dive on me here, I think. Can I get a little word with you before you go? How have you enjoyed this weekend? And he's a little further back than we perhaps thought for the final one here. What's he got in the pocket?
Oh, well, hopefully we can make the car a little bit better for the long run on this time. But, yeah, he was close in qualifying. You know, he was kind of on for front row up until the last sequence. And doesn't take much. It's so tight up the front. So, yeah, we'll have another go.
Really cool that the reigning Supercars champion has come to play in this series for a couple of events. What final bits of conversation do you have before he sets off on this? He doesn't talk all that much on the radio at times, does he?
No, he doesn't really say anything. He's pretty busy out there, to be honest. But really, we just need to get a good start. I mean, last time we kind of bogged a bit, so we just focused on the start and we'll go from there.
Awesome to have you here in New Zealand too. There he is. We're going to get quickly and urgently sent from this grid here. So we're about to take you to the commentators' first feature race of this 5-week straight season. The Castrol Toyota Formula Regional Oceania Championship. Is the Red Bull Junior going to take it out today, or will we see some more passing in these slightly warmer conditions, slightly longer race? A bit's going to unfold in this one, Jonathan.
Thank you, Rusty. Yes, track temperature 32 degrees, similar to yesterday's race. But how about these for the Retco race facts? This is the third race, but longer, 23 laps, and we're expecting about 35 minutes. So, yes, as Mark Pilcher was saying, you've got to wait till the final quarter to really push on. And as you see there, confirmation of the 32 degrees. Interesting, Andrew. Josh Pearson, I've just realised, no wonder he's struggling a little bit with the standing start, because he's rolling starts in Indy Next.
Yeah, when you get so used to those rolling starts, it is quite hard to get back into the standing start situation. And there's so much procedural stuff you've got to think about with those standing starts to get them right. So it's switching that mind back into that zone. It's not even just once you roll up to the line. It's procedural before you get going. You focus more on getting that rear tire temperature up and making that a bit hotter so you can get a better launch off the line. So it's super important to focus on that as we see them there. As this is the longest wait as a driver as you're sitting there. You've got so much to think about. You're lining up where you are on the track, getting ready for that race start. You're thinking about your race. You're thinking about where you can put the car. There's so much going through your mind, but at the same time, while you're thinking all about that, you're trying to stay calm.
Yeah, no question about it. But the other side of it is, it's silent, finally. The lid goes down, nobody can touch you except your engineer. It's the two of you against the world.
Yeah, it is for sure. As you hear the RPM come up, so get ready for a bit of a practice start. It's a little bit of a simulation of what they're going to have for the race start, but at the same time, those tyres aren't up to temperature. So yes, you can use it as a reference, but it is going to be different to what you're going to have the next lap around. This is where they'll start focusing on getting those tyres up to temperature as we get ready for the race.
Here we go then. The starting grid sees Arvid Lindblad of the UK in pole position. Matthias Zagazzetta in number 2, then Zach Skula, winner already. Josh Pearson alongside him in 4th. Michael Shin, 4th overall last year, 5th on the grid for the feature race. Nikita Johnson looking for a big one out of P6. Will Brown starts 7th, Enzo Ye 8th. Patrick Huizenrode has been the most overtakes over the weekend, is 9th. Manson is 10th. Rashid is 11th. And Monteiro of Brazil is 12th. Then it's Jet Bowling of the USA, Alex Crosby of New Zealand, Barrett Wolf of the USA, James Lawley of Canada, and at the back, Nicholas Stati. He got a penalty, 2 grid penalty, as did Alex Crosby after an incident in race 2.
So they're making their way around. This extra track temperature is certainly going to make a bit of a difference. And Zach Skula with that last race, it just didn't quite seem to be able to make his way through the field as we've seen him previously. So he'll be wanting to redeem himself a bit for this one. But either way, what a brilliant weekend for Zach Skula, as we spoke about after yesterday. Zach Skula, we didn't really know the name. Now we know the name. Pole position for race number 1. He is up there in 3rd position, and he will be on it.
Question is, can he channel his inner Denny Hulme? That's what they're racing for. Back in 1974, on exactly this date, January 13th, back in Argentina, Denny Hulme won the race. 2 Ferraris, Niki Lauda and Clay Regazzoni. He beat that day. We have the trophy, and Nita Hulme will present that trophy at the end of the race. So I'm sure all the Kiwis out there are well aware of that. We've seen it presented, as you saw, to Lando Norris a few years ago, and that was his first ever Grand Prix win as well. We saw just a moment ago. Really looking forward to this one. And as I said earlier, just 2 points between the top 3, and they are pretty much in contention for this feature race. A packed house in Taupo for the start of this one. Conditions absolutely set fair. What can they do? Lindblad on the right-hand side in the famous Red Bull colours. will try on the dirty side of the track to hold that position.
You see them line up there, and you can see as well that front row, they've got to wait that little bit longer. The engineers have told them, see how much further back they are for this one here.
Yeah, wow.
It's a lot further back because this time you're so much more focused on other things going on that it's a bit harder for your engineer to line you up. You don't have the time that you otherwise would. And from here, you just focus, looking at those lights, thinking of the RPM that you need to hit to hold for the start of the race, how much throttle you need.
Up go the revs, on go the lights, out go the lights, away we go! Good start from the 77, and a really good start from Sagazeta. He has the whole shot, although Lindblad will try, as he has done before, to go round the outside. But Sagazeta will be wary of that, but that said, Lindblad's through on the inside. The Brit leads, or does he? Yes, just finally makes it stick. And it is Lindblad from Sagazeta who's coming back. Sagazeta will try to do the same move around the outside. At 4, can't do it. And they settle down, but it's Lindblad who leads from Sagazeta. Good start, good clean start, but I thought Sagazeta had it then for a moment.
Yeah, had a bit of a go around the outside, couldn't quite make it stick, but this is exactly what Lindblad needed to get off the line and get in front and start controlling their race.
Zach Skula in 3rd position, and as we said, it's a long way, 23 laps compared to what they've done before. And Jet Bowling didn't get away well. He's dropped to 14th, starting 12th. There's Will Brown in the middle of that shot, just behind Michael Shin. Shin got a good start, and as you can see, Brown all over the back of him right now. Now can the supercar champ make a move? He's looking for it.
Oh, had a bit of a go up the inside, couldn't quite make it work. But I reckon he's going to have some pace, more than we otherwise think, because he heard from his engineer, Andrew Edwards, that he just didn't quite get the lap together. So I think we'll see something from Will Brown as this race unfolds. There's a lock-up into turn 1.
Big lock-up. In comes Madsen up the inside. Oh, almost makes it on Montiano. But the pair of them going at it in the midfield. And already Arvid starting to pull away. He's got a gap of 0.4 early on. Sagazeta under pressure now from Zach Skula of New Zealand. Shin still there 4th, then Brown. Hoytson-Roda has already made it up to 6th place. Good start by him. Pearson drops to 7th. Hasn't worked out those starts yet. Johnson also not getting the best of starts. He's 8th, Rashid 9th, and Enzo Ye is 10th.
And Hoytson-Roda as well, sitting in behind Will Brown. We haven't seen the most out of him this weekend. He hasn't had the luck that he quite needs. He saw in that first race he got pushed a bit wide. So is this the first we're going to see of him starting to come through the field? But he is sitting in behind Will Brown. But Will Brown also looking racy at the moment.
No jump starts, no problems at the start, so we are racing to the flag now of 23 laps, 2 gone. Hoytson-Roda with the fastest lap so far, and that will change as the race goes on. But there's nothing in it at the moment, and we're watching Brown as he tries to inch closer and closer to Michael Shin, who is 4th overall, took a podium here at Taupo last year. Through the complex they come. Nice and tight through here. Nothing between them. If anything, Lindblad just pulling away slightly, although Will Brown was the man with the fastest lap at 1:25.5.
Yeah, well, this is working out well for Lindblad because he's got Matthias Sagazeta sitting in behind, defending his position from Scholar. So that allows, this is perfect for Lindblad. He's able to get that gap, and he's going to be able to control it and look after his tyre that little bit more as the cars behind it all battling, all getting held up at the moment a bit by Sagazeta.
I'm sure the Red Bull team are watching back in Europe, but so too is Chip Ganassi, and I'm sure Alpine, Williams, you name it, they're all looking at the future stars, and we've seen such a change in Formula One. Liam Lawson, yes, may be the biggest story in terms of getting that big seat, but there's so many other moves. Colapinto came here a few years ago, worked with Kiwi, he went well. Yuki Tsunoda also, Marcus Armstrong now in Indy, Kyle Collette now in Indy. You know, there's lots of drivers, and here comes Brown finally on Shin. Makes it up the inside, and he'll make it stick. He'll get his elbows out. You don't mess with a supercar driver down there.
Yeah, it was well done. He pushed him just wide enough.
Oh, big old! You know, Brown might have got away with that, and so too has Shin. Wow!
No one gets away with that. How
for the pirouette! I tell you what, Simone Biles would have been happy with that one. That was amazing.
Wow, The fact that they both got away with that, there may be some damage to Will Brown's car. Doesn't look like it from that spot there, but we'll just keep an eye on it. We're going to know by the end of this lap if he's struggling with any bent steering or anything. Oh, as he starts getting a little bit sideways as well, but that was a massive, massive moment, how they both got away with that.
For both young men too, because that's scary. That's really fast down there, and their reactions were immaculate, both of them. Let's have another look. Andrew, what do you see?
It was, just have a look, as they're going down the straight.
Yeah, it was his rear that hit his front, wasn't it, Shin?
Yeah, it was. You could sort of see them just coming towards each other just a little bit. You could see Shin there. He was trying to move left, and Will Brown was trying to move right, and all it took was a tiny little touch and around he went. But the fact that they both got away with that, that does not happen often.
But that's what happens when you go past an ITM, you know, logo like that. It says, "I'll be right."
Yep, that's it. You'll be right.
I love it. Zagazeta still trying to hold off Skula, and Zach having a good start to this race. He's putting a lot of pressure on the Peruvian. Let's head down to Greg Rust.
Why don't we try and quickly get a word with Stephen Giles? Any damage to that car? Have we heard anything from Will's side?
He said nothing so far. We don't even know. Haven't seen any TV. Didn't know if it was his contact, but he said nothing, so we're assuming he's all good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, well, and it shows too, because he's pushing on right now. You can see him here in this shot, chasing the 14 of Josh Pearson. Pearson up to 5th, Will Brown 6th, Huizenrode up to 4th place. This man is having one heck of a weekend that we really haven't made a lot of yet. I mentioned that he had 5 overtakes in race 1. He had another good race in race 2, but look at him go now. He's up to 4th place here in this race, and you can see he's right in contention now in that number 5, all red and black. There he is. David Brabham will be on the radio. Man who drove for Simtek in Formula 1.
In the background, you can hear a few lockups happening, some smoke in the background. Everyone is pushing on, trying to settle in for this race.
This is more like it, and really excited to see what Patrick Huizenrode, he of course is an Australian driver, and we've had some really good ones. Tommy Smith will be coming into the championship. Thomas Randall, 5th in supercars himself, was a great champion in his time here. And so the Aussies, Christian Mansell last year, starting to really show what they can do in single-seaters.
So just look at that gap between the front two. That's starting to close down just a little bit. Zagazeta's starting to close in on Lindblad. Has he got something to fight with here?
Well, Will Brown, despite that incident, has settled back down and is still going strong in 6th place. And ironically, Shin is still going well in 10th. That's what happened here. Oh dear, Mr. Ye. Enzo getting ends out there and off the track, but he's okay.
Yeah, not ideal for him, just getting stuck out wide there. It's a bit of a shame for him, sort of going from bad to worse after that jump start this morning, and now unfortunately running off the track.
Yeah, that's knocked him right to the back, and as you say, Arvid Lindblad now starting to pull away, 0.6 the official gap to Zagazeta. But the man I'm keeping an eye on is this man, both at the front, but also 4th place, Huizenrode. There he is, just in the back, popping into shot there.
Just wonder if it was a mistake out of Lindblad that managed to make that gap close down a bit. Because now, once again, he's pulled a nice gap again. He's a lot quicker on that last lap, so whatever happened there, that gap did close down, but he's certainly not making a big impression. He's not pulling away quite a lot. Yes, he'll be managing his tyre at the same time, but that gap still, I wouldn't call comfortable. It's within a second. You want a little bit more to be able to control the race a little bit better.
Yeah, Josh Pearson has also recovered well, and you can see he's now starting to push on as they come down to the complex. Pearson right there with him, the American, in 5th place. And he's, in some ways, after practice and testing, I thought he'd be having a better weekend, but I think the starts have been his Achilles heel.
Yeah, they certainly have. They've made it a bit tougher for him, and especially the starts. It's something you've got to get right to be able to put it all together for the weekend. And it all comes from qualifying as well. You've got to get those qualifying results. You've got to be up there, and then you've got to get the starts, because track position is absolutely crucial.
The other surprise for me, anyway, is the other American, Nikita Johnson, the youngster, the 16-year-old, the youngest competitor here. He was swapping fastest laps with his teammate Lindblad throughout the testing and practice, but he hasn't really shown as much as we expected here in the races at Taupo. Statty has got up to 14th. Jet Bowling has recovered to 13th. Crosby 12th. Manson just dropped to 11th. And Nicholas Montiero is up to 10th now. You can hear the squeal of the tyres, can't you?
Another lock-up up in front. So that means there's pressure on from behind. It's so easy to do as you're trying to carry that speed into the corner. Locking the tyres is just so easy into those parts of the track.
Just remember, Will Brown won Formula 4 in Australia, but that was years ago. So he's doing a really good job. Let's not forget, yes, he's a superstar in his own right, but to come into this field of international drivers trying to make it to Formula 1, to IndyCar, you know, he's putting his reputation on the line, and he's hanging in there very well indeed at the moment.
Yeah, it's great to see him coming back and doing it, and we've certainly seen other drivers do that as well. Obviously, who's actually my assistant expert commentator, Shane Van Gisbergen, sending me constant updates at the moment. Hello to him. He's watching with Richie Stanaway, who's also been a past, well, actually my teammate for a while in the series as well. So great to have those guys watching and sending me updates, giving the effects about the race too. So
two great racing drivers from New Zealand, and we welcome all those tuning in. Of course, Scotty McLaughlin and Scott Dixon will be racing at Daytona, as will Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, it'd be great to see them getting back into it. The off-season's over. Everyone's looking forward to getting back into their season of motorsport, and you know, just a few more people that have been through this championship that have helped springboard them onto other bigger things, and it just keeps showing through. We're 20 years into it now, and you know, the drivers that we just keep seeing come out of the series. And speaking of out of the series, into the series, like Will Brown, it's just awesome to see him come back in and push on, and you know,
Brown's
get prepped for the
definitely
season.
trying to make a move now on Pearson. He comes to the outside. He's not going to make it round the outside, but he might get good drive onto the front straight and make a lunge at turn one. That's the obvious thing to do. Tucks himself in nicely behind, and onto the main straight they come. Now watch out for the Red Bull car, the 87, to pop out to the inside. That's exactly what he did. Showed a nose, didn't do it. But he's in the wash, as you mentioned earlier in the weekend, and he won't want to stay there, will he?
And you can see that gap now starting to open up just that little bit more once again. So you got to remember, we're still not even halfway through this race.
Yeah, good point.
It's a long way to go. So everyone's just settling in, finding their rhythm.
Good recovery by Michael Shin. He's back up to 8th position now. He's got ahead of Sean Rashid. No change at the back. Statty, though, up to 14th. Montiero's dropped to 13th. Bowling 12th. Crosby 11th. And Manson still 10th. Schooler doing a good job. Look how close he is to the man in second place. They're losing time, both of them, to the leader. But Schooler looking as though he might make an effort to get past Zagazzetta very quickly.
Yeah, this is an important part of the race. Oh, I can see battles going on in the background.
Here comes Brown.
Brown, he's done the same move again. I don't think he'll be wanting to do the next part of what happened before.
He's got the line for sure. Just needs to hold it.
Oh, side by side.
Oh, who dares wins? Oh, and he's got him. Well done. Yeah. Oh, Brownie. Nice one. Well, that was super Skyly, wasn't it?
Yeah, made it work around the outside, and now he's under pressure as well.
Yes, and that's Nikita Johnson. He doesn't need a second invitation. Up the inside goes the young 16-year-old from Florida. Nicely done. And we know that they are watching back at home in Florida. We spoke to Obi, his father, this morning, and he's got a lot of big fans cheering him on, and we wish him well. And he's been, well, you spoke to him this morning for the first time. He's quite a character, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's one of those guys in the paddock that you just love having around. He's obviously absolutely loves his motorsport, and you know, his son as well, doing a fantastic job with being out there, and just can't wait to see what the rest of the season produces for not only him, but other guys out there who are doing fantastic. And that gap is certainly up front is starting to open out just that bit more, and you can become so much more controlling from that point. There's no point in opening the gap out any more than sort of 2 seconds, because any more than that, you're just starting to use tyre for no reason, because you've got to think at any stage there could be a safety car. So
yeah, good point.
Why burn that tyre off and build a 5-10 second lead, you're better to just control that 2 seconds so that if there is a safety car, because it's all going to close up again, you've got something to fight with after that safety car. So you just got to control from here.
You know, we said that the conditions are similar and the track temperature is similar, but the weather above is not. It was cloudy yesterday, and that killed things down as the race went on. I actually think this is going to actually give a tough time to those Pirellis as the race goes on. We're into 11 of 23, and as you say, long way to go yet.
Yeah, it's interesting though, compared to last year. Last year there was massive degradation, but there has been those few corners that have been resealed, and it seems to have made quite a difference. You don't hear the degradation talk from the drivers. You know, last year when the track hadn't been resurfaced, that was the first word off every driver. They're talking about how much degradation is making a difference, but this time around, they're sort of even saying themselves, oh, we can push on. Obviously, they've had that homework that they've done before they've come here. They know that this is a high degradation track, and they know what they're in for, and everyone's kind of going, well, it's actually not as bad as it used to be, so we can fight and we can race that a little bit harder.
You know, I've got a feeling that Arvid Lindblad's engineer might just tell him to knock the pace off a little. He's got a 2.3 second lead. Long way to go yet. Doesn't want to waste his tyres by pushing any further. That's a comfortable lead in this kind of racing, and he'll want to maintain that and try to keep that gap by not pushing overly and wasting his tyres.
See how quickly there Will Brown has got onto the back of Huizenroda as well. So whether or not he can put enough pressure on and get past him to make his way. Yeah, you can see now he's got all sorts of pressure on the back of him.
Quad lock, Shaw partners, all part of his 888 sponsorship, and those that brought him here, Red Bull, of course, but he is pushing, isn't he?
Yeah, he certainly is. He just got a bit awkward off that curb into turn 2 there and got sideways on the exit.
Field spreading out dramatically, though, as this race continues. Fastest lap was Will Brown last time out, a 1:24.5. That's the fastest lap of the race, and you can see he's pushing on a little lock up there by Brown as he puts the pressure on Huizenroda. Two Aussies going at it, completely different sides of the track. They've come up, and Patrick Huizenroda knows he's in a battle now. He'll know who Will Brown is very well indeed. What a thrill, though, to be able to race him. Michael Shin now up to 8th position. He's now behind Pearson. Good battle between those two. This is a good showing also by Sean Arashi. There's the engineers for M2. On the right-hand side, Jonathan Morey, the team manager of this team. And M2 have pretty much had this group of men and women for quite some time, and it's a winning combination.
So you might be wondering why they're all standing there with laptops and what those laptops are all for. So what they're doing with those is they're just constantly updating spreadsheets to put the lap times into there, and those spreadsheets won't only just put lap times in there, it'll punch out averages, it'll give them so much more data that when they do get the actual data out of the cars at the end, they can overlay that. And it's such a data-driven sport now to be able to actually use that to help you improve as a driver. We've got Rusty with an update.
Andrew, thank you. Just wandered into to MTech Motorsport and had a word to Bruin Beasley. Naturally, they're watching our coverage live on stuff as well and keeping a close eye on the behaviour of Will Brown's car relative to Patrick Huizenroda. Now, Pat has not said anything on the radio. He seems calm at the moment. Car is pointing nice and straight, so I think they're just hoping that they've looked after that rubber well enough that they can put up a fight here with the Supercars champion. A little bit of star spotting, guys. There's been so many legends here this weekend, not just on the four-wheel side. Graham Crosby, two-wheel legend, was with us yesterday, and Aaron Slide spotted in one of the corporate boxes this morning too. Really cool. Yeah, very cool. I know Aaron did his whole career in motorcycle racing, also helped him write his book. Great guy, and of course the great Crosby. I think I saw him in Warkworth not a couple of days ago. There you go. So it's a small place, this New Zealand. Another lock up there from Will Brown.
Yeah, it's that corner where we saw him lock up yesterday, and he even said himself, he said, oh, I've got to stop locking up at that corner. But interestingly enough, at the beginning of that replay into turn 1, you can see it's got quite a bit of understeer through the middle of the corner. You can see the way he's turning, and then he's got to hold it for that long. He's struggling to get the car turned through the middle of the corner, so those front tyres are certainly working super hard at this point.
I noticed he kind of likes to use the supercar style of bumping over the rumble strips, but this car doesn't like it as much.
No, they certainly don't like it quite as much. At the same time, you can get those curves to work, but it's hard to be consistent with them because these cars don't absorb the curves quite as nice. What it means is sometimes it might work and you go, okay, that curve worked, I'll use that again to help me rotate the car or however it's helped. But the next time, it might bump the car in a different direction. So that's why it's sort of hard to use some curves, and it's obviously super hard on these cars.
Well, Lindblad is checked out. 3.2 seconds now with 14 of the 23. It's not over by any means, and the others might push on, but a big mistake now by Schooler has allowed Huizenrode and Brown to catch up. Now, can Brown make another move, this time on the fellow Aussie? Down the back straight, down the Dale ITM back straight. High above from the drone. We see them breaking into this complex. It's a great way to see it too, because you can see the gap. You don't need timing to tell you just where Brown is and how close he is for making a pass at turn 1.
Will Brown still putting that pressure. You watch him down into turn 1. So what he'll be there trying to do at turn 1 to compensate for that, to be carrying that little bit more brake down to the apex to keep the weight on the front of the car, and that'll allow it to turn just that little bit better. And then you get to the high-speed stuff. You can see there, doesn't have that as much aero as what the car in front does. He's getting that dirty air, so the car's moving around a lot underneath them. So we've got Rusty down the lane.
Andrew, just a little something to keep in the back of your mind as you look at what the cars are doing behaviour-wise. Pirelli tell me, and I can feel the sting, the warmth in the day at this point relative to race 2 earlier today. The peak track temp in race 2 near the end, they got to 26. Right now it's 32 degrees. We've got a longer race. What impact will that warmer condition have as we wear on here?
Thank you, Rusty. Yeah, and at the moment, if as it stands, Lindblad would walk away from Taupo with a 78-point lead to Sagazetta's 73. Schooler would still be third with 68 and Brown fourth with 58. But that is at this point in the race.
Yeah, it is for sure. And Will Brown with the fastest lap of the race. He's certainly been working on those tyres, just building them up. The car's starting to come to him here. Though obviously he's not carrying any damage from what happened earlier in the race.
Yeah, egregious use of the rumble strips though, but we'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely, we will. Very, very well done.
And he pushes on some more. And I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be Huizenrode at the moment because he's under massive pressure.
And this is a long, long race still to go to be able to contain that pressure, to not let him come up the inside. This is one spot you can see he's very quick. Oh, another little lockup. That's not what you want.
There's a Formula 1 star, Roberto Moreno. Great guy, and has been with the Kiwi team for quite some time. Martin Donnelly also came out last year. Both winners of the Macau Grand Prix, I may add, at Formula 3 level, when they were at this level. And Roberto, just a great character.
Yeah, great to have him here supporting the Kiwi Motorsport team. And yeah, having these guys all up and down the lane that just make that little bit of a difference. You know, it might not be just direct driver input, but just managing drivers, you know, their mental side of things and how they approach the weekend, and you know, leading them in the right direction of what to be working on and not getting caught up in the things that don't matter. So that's what some of these guys are so good at, is just keeping drivers level-headed.
How hard is it for someone like Patrick Huizenrode now to keep an eye on the man in front of him in Schooler, but also one eye on Brown? Because driving in your mirrors, as we call it, it's a different skill, that.
Yeah, it really is. When you end up driving in mirrors, it just ends up making you fall further back into the car that is chasing you down and pushing you on. But you can clearly see Will Brown has got a lot of pace. Just how close he's able to stay all the way through this section with the aero wash that's happening. But at the same time, this is going to get hard for Huizenrode as well, because he's now started to put a lot of pressure on Zach Schooler, who was obviously pressing on pretty hard at the beginning of the race, because he's now starting to fall back a little bit more.
Lindblad is in the zone. He just did the fastest lap of 1:24.514 and has a gap now of 3.7 seconds. I said earlier, or a few laps ago, that he wouldn't push anymore, but it seems that he's comfortable with the tyres, and with 17 of the 23, he's not cruising, but he's not far from.
No, he's certainly doing a fantastic job out there. He's able to just control that, and you can see Zach Schooler there. certainly having to really wait in the middle of the corner to be able to get the car on the exit to be able to run down that straight. Because you've got to really focus on that exit. When you've got cars in behind you like that, as long as you get past the middle point of the corner, you've got to focus on getting as best run as you possibly can onto the straight to save any cars from passing you.
Lindblad crosses the line again, and that is the best time, a 1:24.515, and he is in the zone. Well, they said that that company does give you wings, and he's using them. He's flying. I'm sure Helmut Marko will be pleased with this progress over the weekend. Didn't get the start he wanted on race 1. He looked a little bit miffed, if you like, after race 1. Not very happy. Said he'd work over it. He said he wasn't fast enough. Simple as that. I like the honesty. But he, you know, put his head down, worked with the engineers, and here he is.
Yeah, you got to give him credit for that. The fact that he was able to come in. Oh, it's
another egregious lock up there. Those tyres are hating this, but Brown is making it work.
Is Huzarota able to stay on the outside? Hard to hang on the outside around there. Oh. Still got it. Is he able to now? Will Brown needs to focus down to this last couple of turns. Turn 11. Can he run him? He'll try to hold him as tight as he can to the inside.
Looking for the switchback. Goes high, goes low. Perfect. That is motor racing, folks. Classic.
Yeah,
and back comes Huizenrode. That is great racing. They're side by side, don't touch, as they did before. Brown will be wary of that one. I still can't get over the fact that he made it through that.
Yeah, the fact that they both got through that is around the outside again. Huizenrode has a bit of a look, can't quite get it done. You can see Will Brown's car moving around side to side.
Nice overtake though.
Yeah, brilliant overtake.
So Brown, does he kick on now and see if he can catch up with Skula?
This is what's going to be really interesting, just to see how much pace Will Brown does have. He's got clear air. The tyres will certainly be pretty hot at this point in the time because he's been stuck behind that car in front. But it'll give him a lap or two, and then he'll be away. But at the same time, we've only got 4 laps remaining in this race.
And we welcome Dad. Zach Skula's dad, that is. Mum's here, Deborah, but Dad's watching at home, and I know he's tuning in, and he was so delighted. He said he'd be happy with the top 5 for Zach in the first race, and boy, did he improve on that with the win.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fantastic to see.
So then, Brown has made that spot. Now, well, it'll be interesting to see what he does in this lap. Now he's got clean air, and he's got enough time, for sure, to catch up with Skula.
You can see how good his car was through turn 9 there. You can see his hands weren't working too hard. Super smooth. And through here, a little bit of rear locking on the way in there. A little bit of wobbling around, but it made it work. Got it out on the exit to head down the back straight once again. What's his lap time going to be?
Yeah, Brown, such car control. You can see what he's learned over the years with different kinds of car racing. He's done a bit of NASCAR. He was 3rd in practice at Sonoma. Didn't have the greatest of races, but did beat Denny Hamlin, and that's an accolade.
Yeah, absolutely it is. It's something that's pretty cool.
Let's head down to Greg Rust.
Jonathan, just a thought on Michael Shin, who is still circulating. I've just been and had a word to the engineering group at M2 competition. He's not said anything on the radio. They can't immediately see anything wrong with that car. Will Brown similarly has pace. We're going to be replaying that incident from earlier in this race ad nauseum, and yet both of those cars, testament to them, seem to be going faultlessly.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a unique incident when so many different things could have happened. They could have clattered into each other all the way down the back straight. Shin could have easily hit the wall. Brown could have gone sideways and out to the outside and hit the wall that way. Amazingly, a brilliant pirouette by Shin, and Brown seemed unperturbed.
The fact that they both got away with it, it's yeah, something that I think you couldn't play that again and let that unfold the way it did. So, and then just the fact that there's no damage as well. Look how fast he has got onto the back of
really
Zach Skula.
Very impressive. Another fastest lap from Lindblad, a 1:24.477. 4.8 seconds now.
At the same time, you can see those tyres starting to drop off. The sliding in the rear of the car on the exit of turn 11. We know how slippery it is through there. As Arvin Lindblad just did the fastest lap of the race once again, 1:24.7. We see how fast Will Brown is last lap. He's actually gone quickest with a 1:24.3, so fastest lap of the race to Will Brown.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, and with less than 3 laps to go now. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty of the Denny Hulme Memorial Trophy, the first of our major trophies of the season here. We're kicking it off here at Taupo. We head to Hampton Downs next week. Get your tickets if you haven't already. And if you're watching on Stuff, you better book your space in front of the telly.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a great weekend to watch. Completely different style of track once we do get there as well, so it's going to change things. We can see Will Brown's on the exit there, fighting the car just a little bit. So they come through. We see, oh, Scholar sideways through turn 8.
Yeah, and yeah, he's under pressure now for sure. And it was the rate at which Brown caught him. I said he'd had enough time, and he did that in record time. And he surely must be looking for a podium out of this one. Remember, he's 4th in the championship as it stands, and this could change that if he gets past. He gets a good position there. He'll get in the draft, and he'll try to make it happen down this backstraight, down the Dale ITM backstraight.
Yeah, Will Brown, we know how much experience he's got. He knows he needs to get this move done as quickly as he possibly can as Scholar starts going defensive.
Scholar holding on and driving in his mirrors as we've described before, but now Will Brown, this is where he's so good. He gets superb drive out of the last corner. He hasn't made a lunge at the first corner yet, but he always goes well out of there. You see how close he gets under braking?
Yeah, this is the part that's impressive with Will Brown, just how close he's able to stay with all the aero wash through this part of the track. It just shows his car is in a good window. You can see through the bit of curb through turn 3, up over turn 4. He needs to stay as close as he can through this part of the track. He knows his opportunity is down at turn 11.
Yeah, you saw the time there. Best lap of the race for Will Brown, that 23, and he is fighting hard. But he's 7 seconds off Arvid Lindblad, who now is almost 5 seconds up the road from Matthias Sagazeta. It's going to be a good weekend for both Lindblad and Sagazeta and Schooler if they finish this way. But Schooler's the one with the work to do, with Brown all over him. Whoa, again. So this is where he's lining himself up. Look, he takes the inside line, then slots in. He's got the draft now. Andrew, tell us what he's going to do.
Yeah, he got the exit just as he wanted to do. He's able to stay nice and close behind. He's going to force Scholar to the inside. He's going to run out wide to the outside. We've seen this move happen around the outside. Can he go late enough on the brakes? Not quite.
Great racing, though, pair of them. And if he didn't know he was in a race, he does now. Now, again, Brown does the same maneuver. He tucks himself up behind. Next opportunity here at turn 1. Schooler is doing the right thing. This is the final lap. Maury watches on, and oh, Brown will try to use a slingshot round the outside using the camber. Can't quite do it. Schooler under massive pressure here on the final lap of the final race of the day. Oh!
They are pushing on as hard as they possibly can. Will Brown putting all sorts of pressure on Zach Scholar. Scholar even covers. You can see the car slide into the apex into turn 5 there.
Well, a 17-year-old against a 26-year-old. Bags of experience from Brown as he locks up just gingerly again. Schooler doing a great job and flying the flag for New Zealand. This is what we've come to see.
This is the important corner, turn 9. Will Brown's got to get that perfect.
He did.
This is where he needs to stay as close as he can.
Not close enough, I don't think.
No, this isn't. This is Scholar. He just needs to stay nice.
Right,
and
now
tight.
he is.
Yeah.
Now he is. Oh, almost bumped into the back of him then. Right, tuck yourself in, mate. Here we go. Back straight for the last time. Don't think he's close enough, though. Schooler's done this.
Yeah, he just got a little bit too much wheel spin on the exit, got on the gas a little bit too early, but that was his only opportunity.
Here comes your winner, though. Arvid Lindblad wins the Denny Hulme Memorial Trophy here at Taupo. And that's the first win for the Red Bull man. And that is in style, too. Zagazeta comes across the line, but some 5 seconds behind. And Zach Schooler does it in style by taking third. Another podium. What a weekend for this young 17-year-old UAE Kiwi man. He lives in the UAE. He is, of course, a New Zealander. And that is a great start to his campaign. And well done to Sebastian Manson. Right at the death of the race, he gets 9th place over Rashid, and Shin takes 8th place. But all eyes on the number 4 from Great Britain, Arvid Lindblad.
That was a commanding win for him. Just got out in front at the start, controlled the race beautifully, brought it home. But big recovery there by Will Brown as well.
Well, he didn't put a foot wrong that race for sure, and now you can see why he won 4 FIA F3 races and why he's good enough to go to F2 and Campos this season coming up. And I'm sure the Campos team will be pleased with that. Here are the highlights then. Away they went from the start. Sagazeta got the best start of all and took the whole shot. But Lindblad didn't take long to get it back. And as you can see, M2 competition watching on with glee as Lindblad just pips him in the next corner. Brown through on Shin and then went after Skula. But this was the moment. Watch this, folks. Brown flies through the smoke. Whoa! Shin does the pirouette. And even Stephen Giles showed some emotion, and that doesn't often happen. Off went Enzo Yay, and that was a nay. Brown, though, was the man of the moment. Look at that. Sideways through, and how nice do you like that one? Through comes Nikita Johnson, up one spot, but obviously the Liam Lawson lid doing the business for Will Brown. Liam here today. And Moisen Roder, try as he might, just couldn't hold him off. He was on fire, was Will Brown. And the man sponsored by Sky City, Quad Lock, and many others did the business and was definitely the talk of this race. He gave us the entertainment. And at the end there, Skula really under pressure, fighting the car, fighting Brown, and fighting his ability to stay on track and hold off Brown. But he did it. Did it in style, I have to say. That was pressure. Reminded me of Lawson and Hamilton at Brazil in the rain. Just holding him off on every corner. Fighting, fighting, fighting. Really, really intense battle all through the race. And that's motor racing at its finest. That's why these guys are headed towards Formula One. Checkered flag, though, goes to the man closest at the moment to F1, Arvid Lindblad, here to get the super license points. And that is a big step in the right direction.
And the lap record did come down. We're 124.303, which actually matches Zach Skula's lap record from yesterday. Exactly the same lap time.
That's wild. So out he comes, gets a bit of congratulations from the team. Maury, the first one to congratulate him. And the rest of the, actually, no, sorry, his engineer and mechanic, the first to congratulate him. And, well, it's a good one for Arvid because that's the win he's been seeking since he came over to New Zealand. And confirmation of the results then. Arvid Lindblad with the win. Matthias Sagazeta in second place. Zach Skula in third. Will Brown fourth. Patrick Huizenrode in fifth. Nikita Johnson sixth. Josh Pearson seventh. Shin, Manson, Rashid and Crosby in 11th. And then it's Bowling in 12th. Montiero 13th. Statty, Wolf, Yay, who went off at 11 in 16th. And James Lawley in 17th place. Well done, Arvid. Let's head down to Stephen MacGyver.
Yes, he will be a very happy young man, will Arvid Lindblad, with his first win in the Castrol Toyota Formula Regional Oceania Championship. Finally got that move around the outside on turn one. That must have felt satisfying.
Yeah, I mean, I made my life difficult. Yeah, it's not easy to start on the inside here. It's a bit dirtier, and the start's a bit more difficult. But yeah, anyway, I didn't do a great start, and I was very committed when I saw that I'd lost the lead, that I had to get it back in turn one, because I mean, I've learned already in the previous two races that it's incredibly difficult to pass here. So yeah, happy that I got it done in T1, and then yeah, was just controlling the pace from there. It
was beautifully controlled race, Arvid. Where did you feel that you were right in that moment in the groove?
Honestly, the beginning, it wasn't that easy. I wasn't that happy, to be honest. I mean, I was trying to manage because I could feel very quickly that it was a different race to the previous two, that the thermal degradation was a lot higher. So I was trying to manage already from the beginning, but I could see that sort of the guys behind were very close. So I thought it might be a tough race. But then, yeah, after about, I don't know, 5-6 laps, I started to edge away, and then I think the pace was really strong till the end.
Antonio Ortiz, your engineer, did he say anything later in the race about your tyre dig and just looking after them or not?
No, not really. To be honest, I had it quite under control. I'm quite fortunate to have raced in F3 with tyres much worse than this, so I'm used to saving. So it was okay.
Congratulations, mate. You get your first win. You also lead the championship, and you'll pick up a very famous trophy called the Denny Hulme Memorial Trophy.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
All right. Get ready for the podium as we welcome for P2, Matthias Sagazeta. Well, P1, P2, it's a nice first weekend for you once you found your rhythm.
Yeah, well, it's important points on the board. I think it's a bit of damage limitation. So, yeah, pretty happy with the result. I think it was a good start from my side again. A good fight with Arvid in the first couple of corners. So yeah, pretty pleased with how it went. I think it was a very decent race. I was trying to manage a bit too much on the tires, I think. So I expected a bigger deck, but yeah, I think at the end when I tried to push, he was already way too far ahead, and I didn't really catch him so much. So yeah, pretty happy with P2.
After the first weekend, how tough do you think this competition is going to be to try and win?
No, it's like I said after race 2, it's a very competitive championship. The drivers have brought a very, very high level. So yeah, I'm ready and up to the fight.
Thanks for the entertainment.
Thank you.
And in P3, Zach Schooler, who won, of course, race number 1. My word, you had Will Brown all over you in those final laps. How annoying or how pressuring was that?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't easy, you know. A guy like him behind you, it's always going to be a bit tough. But just the deg on the tyre, this race felt a lot higher. I think we lost most of the tyre when I was chasing Matthias, but just couldn't really find a way past.
Is that one of the things you got to learn this whole 5 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, tyre management is definitely a big thing for me. You know, coming from F4, there's not a lot of tyre management, so it's just been a bit of learning for me.
What has this weekend meant to you, getting the first win of the 2025 season and being in the hunt?
Yeah, no, it's been huge, you know. Definitely beat a lot of my own expectations, and it's only the first weekend, so hopefully there's more to come.
Well done. Get ready for the podium.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Castrol Toyota Formula Regional Oceania Championship podium for the feature race, round 1. And the feature race is for the Denny Hulme Memorial Trophy. And trophies and checks will be presented by the sister of Denny Hulme, Anita Hulme. So please welcome in 3rd place from New Zealand, Zach Schooler. Yeah, got a little bit surprised there, throwing a bit of cash, spending money. All right, in 2nd place out of Peru, please welcome Matias Zagazeta. And presenting the Denny Hulme Trophy is Anita Hulme, and in 1st place and the winner of the Denny Hulme Memorial Trophy from Great Britain and your championship leader after the first weekend, Arvid Lindblad. And that is your official podium for the opening weekend and the 3rd race of the weekend in the Castrol Toyota Formula Regional Oceania Championship. One more large round of applause, folks. Now, gentlemen, we'll take those the trophy and those checks away from you, and then you feel free to spray the champagne.
Well, he certainly knows how to use the celebration champagne. And now we see that lovely smile from Arvid. And well done to him. It's been a tough weekend for all of our 17 drivers. But here's how it stands after 3 races down. With 78 points, Arvid Lindblad leads the way. Matthias Zagazeta is in 2nd with 73. Zach Schooler, a winner of race 1 and a rookie, remember. 68 points. Will Brown with 62. Nikita Johnson has 56. Pearson, another American, is 6th. Michael Shin is in 7th place. Patrick Huizenrode 8th. Another rookie, Enzo Ye, is in 9th position. And Sebastian Manson in his first season, but not a rookie because he did a couple of races last year. And Sean Rashid just behind him. Then 12th is Nicholas Montiero. He has 21, one ahead of Crosby. Bowling has 20. Statty, Barrett Wolf and James Lawley. So everybody scoring points, and that's the beauty of this championship. Long way to go yet, and it's Hampton Down.